Hi everybody, it's Stewart Swerdlow.
And Janet Swerdlow.
Actually, I shouldn't say that.
Why?
Because I'm now Sir Dr. Reverend Stewart Swerdlow, diplomat and cultural attaché. But I'm not going to, I didn't put my crown on my robe. But anyway, this is the Expansions News podcast for Father's Day week of June 2017.
Father's Day week in the U.S.
Yeah. Right. Who cares about the rest of the world?
Because
really?
in the other rest of the world, this may not be Father's Day.
No, it's not, because I think in Australia it's the end of September.
Well, there's a billion countries, and not every country may have a Father's Day.
Yes, but it only matters what country I'm in.
So you need to let them know, because they might not know what country you're in because you're always traveling.
And I may actually have my own country.
Maybe.
Which would be Father's Day every day.
Is that on-world or off-world?
Both. Because I am the emperor of the universe, so it doesn't matter. Which I'm actually so close to being emperor now. It's like so close. Anyway, as you may or may not have... Oh, did you have anything else more to say before I go on?
About what?
Anything.
Eventually.
Okay, well, because I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm back. Now you're interrupting me.
No, I'm talking to them. You can keep going.
Okay, because as you know, I'm just back from the island of Nevis, which is very, very interesting because Nevis is connected to it's part of the country of St. Kitts and Nevis, and actually used to be St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla, and Anguilla voted for independence a few years ago, but they couldn't maintain their independence, so then they went back under British protection.
So they're not back with Nevis and
No,
St. Kitts. They're under British protection.
Right, correct. And so Nevis, interestingly enough, how did it get its name? Nevis was actually literally discovered by Christopher Columbus, physically actually went there.
If Christopher Columbus even existed.
No, he existed.
Did he?
Yeah, and actually he was a knight.
Really?
And the Spaniards, when they saw the island, because the island is shaped like kind of like a Mexican hat, and in the middle is this big volcano which has not erupted in known history and hopefully won't. But at the top of the volcano is clouds, covers the top. So the Spaniards thought it was like snow covered. So they called it Nuestra Señora de las Nieves, or Our Lady of the Snows. And Nieves, when the British came, became Nevis, because the British can't speak any other language, hardly even their own. So they made Nevis into Nevis, and hence the name Nevis. And while I was there, and I think you put this on Facebook, so everybody knows I was knighted by the Hospitallers of St. Lazarus of Jerusalem and the Sacred Medical Order of the Knights of Hope. So I have 2 knighthoods. And I received a diplomatic passport, which I already used, which is accepted. I have a new birth certificate without a number, so I'm no longer a slave of the system. And I have a United Nations driver's license and international medical permit for disaster areas. And I have a doctorate in alternative healing techniques and deprogramming, which I think I'm the only one that has that ever in the world. And I was ordained by the Eastern Catholic Chaldean Rite, which began in India in 58 AD by St. Thomas. So a lot of things happened during this past week. While I was there, I met the Prime Minister of Nevis, the Health Minister of the Dominican Republic, who, by the way, invited me for my birthday party to Dominican Republic, and she said they'd make a big party for me. I also met the Cuban ambassador, the doctor of the royal family, and the surgeon for the Vatican, who says he has a cure for cancer.
Which royal family?
The British royal family. And he's still doctor to the Queen and Charles and all of them. And I also met the creator of stealth technology, which, of course, I know stealth technology is really alien technology, but that's a whole other story. And we have plans with the Grand Master and so on for perhaps creating healing centers on Nevis and globally. Now, may I continue with some news?
What would you do if I said no?
Cry?
You'd probably continue anyway.
You cannot say no to a double night. You can't.
Was that like a double moon?
I could do that.
Yeah, I bet you could.
Yeah, if you want me to. It's Father's Day, I could do whatever I want. But if I did moon everybody, it would crack them up.
Yeah, but you're not my father.
Anyway, just very quick news updates, because I didn't really have time to go through all the news, but Janet apparently did. One thing that disturbed me that I saw this week was Trump reversing or removing some of the connections to Cuba that Obama had made. Not that I'm a fan of Obama, but I did think that we should open up relations to a country that's 90 miles off the coast of our country, right? And he also said if Americans go there, they can be subjected to a Treasury audit. Well, that's kind of spiteful, isn't it? So I'm not so happy with Mr. Trump these days.
Oh, were you ever happy with him?
Well, I kind of had hoped that he would do something positive.
Why?
Because he was so different.
Different than
and,
who?
you know, the Trump corporations were very successful, so I thought he would run the United States like that, but he's a lunatic.
He's a puppet.
He's like a puppet lunatic.
They're all puppet lunatics.
So I'm very disappointed in him.
I'm not, because one is the same as the other. If you have no expectations, you cannot be disappointed.
And you know, and why does he always talk like this? Like he's always doing this.
Okay, and what does that mean?
So,
Look,
three-horned God.
No.
Three-horned God.
No,
reptiles
they're
talking to
always
each other.
no, they're always watching you except the one eye.
No, but look, three horns with a face.
All of it. The entertainers, all the celebrity icons do that.
Yeah.
If you go and you look it up online, they will all be doing this. So that is
well,
why
sometimes they do. What's that one? Oh,
they do. No, it's this one.
Yeah. Oh.
No, you've got the phone.
I can't. My fingers don't go like that.
Look.
Ow! 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 Okay.
So that is all.
How do you know that
all
too
the
so well?
celebrities do that.
Well, he does this.
Yes, the celebrities.
Huge.
The celebrities all do that.
Yes.
Period.
All right. Okay, back to me. Now, as far as what has happened in the world, the Grenfell Tower fire in London. Okay, very suspicious, very strange, and actually, someone wrote to me today and said it was not far from where I did my seminar last time in London. But 58 dead. Here's the thing: 5 plus 8, 13. Very symbolic and obvious. Also, there was a U.S. Navy ship that collided off the coast of Japan, and there were 7 dead. 7 also, a number of completion. And there was a fire in Portugal that killed many people on the road. So many fires. So there's fire transmutation, changing things, satanic ritual, hell and fire and all that. All that stuff is going on. And also what's been on the news in the last couple of days, and actually even the last couple of weeks, and they keep repeating it over and over, is that the California scientists are saying that the very big one, earthquake, is imminent and will be worse than expected. They also have said their quakes are starting to appear more in Yellowstone, which I've been watching, they've been appearing, and along the New Madrid Fault here in the Midwest, which has been creating some earthquakes. And big earthquakes have been occurring almost daily in Greece and Turkey, and it seems like the earth is getting more and more unstable.
I felt an earthquake here.
When? When I came home?
No, before. I was at night, about 10 o'clock at night, I was sitting at the kitchen table with my son, and we felt everything move, but nothing was recorded.
I actually felt that a week before when after you left, and there was an earthquake.
And was it recorded?
That I know of.
Yeah.
So it's up to you.
Yeah.
You go.
All right, so I have just my general interesting stories because I like to show you the trends so you can see what's going on. So the first one I'm going to start about has to do with president, but not President Trump.
No?
This has to do with Oprah Winfrey.
She's president?
Maybe. Because remember what I tell you, they've said this to Michelle Obama, and she said, or Obama said, Michelle will never run for president, blah, blah, blah. Now they're on saying that apparently back in 2009, Donald Trump said that Oprah Winfrey would be his ideal running mate.
Really?
And then in a recent interview, and she's now 63 years old, she said that she would never ever run. And it was pretty definite, she said, that she would never ever run.
Unless people are chasing her, then she'd be
So,
running.
because apparently then in this last presidential election, she actually supported Hillary Clinton, who was of course Trump's opposition. Then after her defeat, rumors swirled that Oprah was going to run in 2020. Now I watch the news a lot, but I never saw that.
I saw that.
Did you? Okay. But anyway, then they're asking her if she ran in 2020, could she beat Trump if he ran for a second term? And she said, quote, I don't know the answer to that, But I'll never have to know the answer to that because I will never run for public office.
Good, that's good to know.
Unquote. But as we all know, this is the way they start opening the frequency. They all say they're never going to do this, and then they do. And the best way to get them in front of your eyes is through being an actress or actor.
Imagine her, President Oprah Winfrey, P-O-W.
Yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Well, anyway, she recently appeared in the HBO drama The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, and which is interesting because I just had read this book within the last couple of years.
That's right, about the woman that they used her cells.
Genetics, and she supposedly didn't know about it, but then she lived on in perpetuity,
right.
And her family didn't know about it, and there's actually a book about that. Which
right, it's a very interesting book.
It was very interesting, so I thought that was interesting. She also just apparently finished a film of the book A Wrinkle in Time, which is also, remember we're talking about time travel and all these kind of things. So they're still putting her in front of the public eye. It would not surprise me at all. In the next term or two, they put her, if we still have a presidency here, that they put her in. And again, remember, she is related to royalty. She is related to all...
she and the Queen look so alike.
She is related to all of these people. They're still cousins. Remember, Trump and Hillary are cousins, and the children are cousins, and Oprah is a cousin through them. So they're all cousins. It's a possibility. And so they tell you what they're going to do sometimes by telling you what they're not going to do. Now, this next thing I told you last week, I told you about the new, you weren't here, and I don't know if you saw that in the news, but they added a black and a brown stripe to the gay pride.
Why?
LBQT, whatever it is.
No, it's a rainbow color, isn't it supposed to be?
Let me see, I don't have the initials. They change the initials all the time, but anyway, you know what I'm talking about.
M-O-U-S-E.
Yeah, that one. So anyway, they added black and brown, so they said that now the flag is no longer divisive, that it holds people together, it's inclusive. But I said there is no stripe for white people.
The background.
No, there's no background. It's just those
white.
colors. No, it's not. It's just those colors. So the point
Well,
is...
I'm offended.
Yes, is they have excluded the white people, so it's not inclusive.
Well, you know why?
What?
Because white people are aliens.
No, everybody's an alien, and the point is they want everybody to mush together and be one color.
When my people come, it's going to be very different.
So it was interesting now this week, apparently every year in the LA gay community, they have a march to celebrate their gayness, I guess. Anyway, this year they decided that instead of a annual gay pride parade, they're going to have a resist march against Trump. So, and
like gay resistance?
No, just resist. That was all. And so the organizers said this was not the year for parades. This was the year to take to the streets and march. And then this act has divided the gay community because the Southern California gays said that it was a day to celebrate their lives and should not be given over to political causes. And in 2016, it says some activists boycotted pride events because they're saying now it turned into a music festival. Then the Washington protesters demanded that a transgender minority woman be asked to serve on the board. And in San Francisco, the gay pride organizers kept their gay pride parade, but they will include a resistance contingent and an immigrants' rights speaker.
Okay. Why isn't there a parade for red wine supporters?
I don't know.
Because I feel like I'm not being heard.
Well, you know, if you spell wine, W-H-I-N-E, and red, that would be you. So I think you have your own parade right here.
That's very insulting on Father's Day.
Yeah.
I'm very devastated.
Yeah, I can tell. But my point is again, this is dividing people, and it is bringing out the idea of resistance. So if they could put a resistance march in the gay pride, they can put a resistance contingent here and there, and then pretty soon we've got everybody in the U.S.
You know, it's stupid.
resisting.
Then there's going to be a parade for people who like vanilla, and then there's a parade for people who like cats with, you know, three whiskers.
You're missing my point.
What?
The point is that within the established parades of whatever, they're putting in resist groups. And so that, remember we talked about the Civil War and those kind of things happening? So, therefore, instead of starting a resistance march, they're turning something that already exists into a resistance movement.
And so where does he hear back? So then it's going to be against that, which is from Star Trek The Borg, resistance is futile.
Okay, but then anyway,
that's what will happen.
So I'm just explaining to you that this is about dividing and not including anybody. And the more focus you put on it, the more it grows.
But the whole thing is ridiculous.
Yes, but it's what's out there, so we have to see what's out there so we can understand it and choose not to participate.
Well, I don't participate.
Or I thought I saw you out there marching in the Gay Pride Parade last year.
Yeah, but then that was actually because I had my cape and my crown.
You didn't get your cape and your crown until this year. So, moving right along, TSA, one of your favorite organizations.
Oh, I love those people.
It says it's now using fingerprints as boarding passes. It's going to begin the new program this week, which will allow a traveler's fingerprints to replace their boarding pass and identification documents. It's called Biometric Authentication Technology, which will begin at Hartsfield, Jackson, Atlanta International Airport, and Denver International Airport.
All the global New World Order capitals.
Exactly. And also it says they're going to start with the TSA pre-check people and just kind of expand it. So
well, I'm the pre-check people.
Then the next thing that was of interest to me is all the things that are going on in the news about children. And so I just want to tell you a couple stories that stood out. Recently, well actually, this actually happened back in 2013, but the court case is now coming up. Back in 2013, there was an 8-year-old boy who went into cardiac arrest after nearly drowning in a washing machine.
How did he get in there?
Well, I'd like to know that myself, but that's what they claim. They found him head down in a washing machine. His parents figured he must have been there about 25 minutes.
And they didn't look for him and all that time.
I don't. Well, the father was mowing the lawn. I don't know where the mother was. But anyway, he was removed from life support system in L.A. And at the time, his parents were told that while he was not exactly dead, he would never wake up. So they made the choice to donate his organs.
So they killed him.
They took him off life support, and then apparently they administer something so that when the child, like say, actually dies, then that the child doesn't feel any pain.
That's terrible.
Anyway, the long of the story short is that now they're saying that the physician who administered the painkiller overdosed the boy to make sure he died in time so they could harvest the organs. So this is a big case now in California, and my point is, okay, this is an 8-year-old child that we're talking about. What happened to him, what happened to the parents, and it has to do with the organ harvesting, it has to do with killing children, because remember, I have reported through the last few months, in the last couple of years, about, I think it's the Netherlands now, that allow children from the age of 12 and over to make their own decision if they want to.
For euthanizing?
Yeah. And so then there was a girl in Brazil who was pleading for people to let her die, who I think was only 12, now an 8-year-old boy. So in my opinion, this is still opening that frequency to allow children to die.
The thing is, when they administer these drugs, that goes into the organs that they're donating.
I don't know.
So the people, whoever gets those organs, has a contaminated organ.
Well, they clean them. You know, they take the organs and they clean them. I don't know. But point being is still, I think it has to do with allowing children to die. So,
well, those are big sacrifices from Sumerian times.
Yeah, and I think it's a very, sad thing for our society, all of it, but this is what's going on. And of course, this is still under investigation. There are no, outcomes whether the doctor is guilty or not guilty. But regardless, for the parents, I'm sure it was very traumatic.
Of course it was.
But for society, I think this is setting new precedents that we have to be aware of.
I still don't understand how an 8-year-old who should know better than getting into a washing machine.
Well, somehow he was found head down, so somehow he must have been looking, he fell in, and the parents didn't realize that. So I thought that was interesting. And then in Florida, there is a journalist,
don't even say any more, Florida.
An author named Sherry Johnson, who claims that when she was 11 years old, that she was forced to marry a rapist from her church that got her pregnant. And apparently, which I didn't realize this, but apparently there are 27 states here in the U.S. that have no age minimum for children to be married if they have their parents' permission.
Really?
I did not know that.
They could be 3 years old and get married?
They said no age minimum. They said there's an organization called Unchained at Last that estimated 250,000 child marriages in the U.S. between 2000 and 2010. And
then they criticized the Muslims in the Middle East for marrying 10 and 12-year-olds.
Yes, and so now this is coming out. In fact, there was another story, which I didn't take the information down, but the more I read this, the more other ones came out. There's another woman, and she was 8 years old, and her stepfather made her his sex slave, and it goes on and on. And this is here in the U.S. So these are like, okay, news stories to us to open our eyes. Apparently the 3 states with the highest rates of child marriages are Arkansas, Idaho, and Kentucky.
What a shock.
And
Kentucky?
Johnson is fighting for Florida to set a minimum marriage age so that no one else has to be robbed of her childhood. But again, to me, this follows on all the things I've been telling you about pedophilia. And remember, I'm telling you about Trump and Ivanka. It's not right what's going on, and it's still opening the frequencies.
But you know what's interesting about Ivanka?
What?
On the news today, it said that she sent a happy Father's Day message to her husband and not her father.
Well, maybe because that's, another thing. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. But like I said, we'll look for these stories because remember what they do is the first thing goes, oh my God, that's awful, and then it becomes so normal you ignore it. So why are we marching, like you said, against Muslim marriages and all these things that are done to female
Mutilation.
I'm trying to think what it's called, genital mutilation. And yet here in the U.S. these things are happening. So
the U.S. has everything happening.
yeah, every country has everything happening. It's just a matter of whether they tell you about it or not.
Right.
And this next story was interesting to me as well because here in Michigan, Grand Rapids, not too far from us, at the Woodland Mall, a 20-year-old woman was asked to leave because of the way she was dressed. Now, according to this article, which you can go online and see, this woman was wearing a tank top and shorts and sandals. Which,
she looked fine to me.
Did you see that article?
I saw the picture of her.
Yeah. I mean, all females dress that way.
See that every day.
Exactly. It wasn't anything odd. So the fact that she was asked to leave, that's what I found was odd. I don't know why they would have done that.
Right.
And besides that, she said there were girls all around her dressed like that.
I'm sure there were.
So it makes no sense. So I'm not exactly...
Maybe she did something and she's not saying what she did.
Well, I don't know. She claims she got an apology from the mall, but it still doesn't make sense to me. So there's either something more to the story or they're trying to tell you something. So anyway, and then, of course, you all know that we're big proponents of fasting for health.
Well, no, you are.
Yeah, well, you're learning to be a big proponent of it. Anyway, here is a disease called Hirschsprung's disease, which I never heard about. It's called an impacted colon. That a man from China had nearly 30 pounds of feces removed from his body after it became impacted in his colon and made it difficult for him to breathe. Now they're claiming that this particular disease actually is noticed after a child is born, and therefore because they don't have the peristaltic action in the colon that moves things out. The symptoms are a swollen belly, vomiting, constipation, gas, and diarrhea, according to the Mayo Clinic. And it supposedly is inherited.
Wait, I have if one of the symptoms is diarrhea, wouldn't that pass everything out?
Not everything, just because the body is so toxic, because if you have this much and you just have a little bit coming out with diarrhea. So anyway, I just think that's very interesting. So if you fast and take care of your body, and then you're not going to have these kind of problems. And of course, we're not medical experts or nutritionists. We're just telling you based on experience. But I thought this was a very interesting story because there are a lot of people who have impacted colons from not being able to eliminate, and that is holding on to your past, which then becomes toxic.
John Wayne had like 45 pounds of it.
So, and there are a lot of stories that people have it. So, take care of your health. And then this was also interesting because, again, as you know, I'm always telling you how they're trying to, make what's abnormal normal. So now they're making it. Almost every woman is now supposed to have a vibrator, believe it or not.
What?
Yeah. And then the next thing is, which I didn't even bring this article, is that you're also supposed to have something that they call a butt plug.
You're supposed to have
that?
Yeah,
that's normal. And so
come on.
You just go on to normal news and it's telling you all this stuff that women should have. Now, if you don't believe that, according to this article, it says now women need to train their pelvic floor. And they used to be told to do certain exercises. The Kegel exercises. Now, instead of that, guess what? We have a $200 personal trainer that you can use to insert, and is recommended by, according to this.
Wait, it's a person or a thing?
It's a thing called LV.
Oh.
That is very personal. You can keep it in your purse, and it's supposedly recommended by over 800 healthcare professionals. $200. So again, think of all the money that's now being spent.
Wait, what does it do?
Well, you're supposed to use it like the Kegel things. You have a little app on your phone, and as you squeeze the thing, then it shows on your phone how good your muscles are.
Really?
Really. So we have now you can buy females out there, a vibrator, a butt plug, and LV. So like for $1,000, and we have all the females in the U.S.
I know what to get you for Christmas.
Yeah, I don't already have one. So, point being is for
that's
like
hilarious.
$1,000 or more, you can. This is a huge industry. Period. You don't need all this
But that's
stuff.
just for women.
That's so far.
What do men get?
Butt plugs.
That's it?
Well,
that's all I get.
Well, you can get a collection. Do you want that?
I'm just curious what
And you can also,
it seems like it's not fair that men only get one plug.
They also,
and women get all these other things.
Well, they have things for men, so you can have your porno on your screen and put it on your penis at the same time. And then you can have sex with your computer. You asked, and I've reported on this before. It's out there for you guys.
You did not take your medication.
You can also have a rubber robot doll if you want.
That you blow up.
Yeah, and they also have them made into little children, which I've talked to you about that before.
What?
Yes.
That's horrible.
Yes. But that's what it is. So.
Where do you come up with this stuff?
I find it. It finds me. What can I say?
My goodness.
Then, also for women, and this is now all over the internet, the hairy swimsuit. It's a one-piece swimsuit that for women that is a screen print of a man's hairy chest and body, complete with nipples of a man.
Okay, why would a woman want to wear that?
It sells for $45 US, and it is all over the place. Kelly Ripa wore it on there.
What?
Yes, on her show.
Oh my!
And everywhere you go, if you put in, and I've got a few links for you.
Well, I leave the country for 1 week, and this is what happens.
And not only that, but I've also told you that one time it was not considered legal, I guess you'd say, for men to show their nipples. Mm-hmm. And it was a very, big thing.
We used to have those one-piece...
Yeah, when men started showing their chest. Mm-hmm. So now we have women, and the nipples are very realistic on this swimsuit that a woman puts on, so her nipples aren't showing, but they look like nipples.
Okay, would you as a woman want to wear like...
Of course not.
So why would any woman want that?
Well, maybe they want to be a man. I don't know.
And so are people buying and using this?
They're claiming that because then everybody will wear it. And then again, here's women with nipples all over themselves without actually showing their nipples. So it's an imprinting.
It's like a man wearing one with the women's breasts sticking out.
Well, that might happen next. I think that you might be onto something. Maybe we should start that before, the next phase goes in. And speaking of that, I remember I reported on the one-piece rompers for men, which made them look like little boys. Right. Now they have lace shorts for men. And if you want, you can have also they're see-through lace shorts in all sorts of colors, pale pink, pale green, pale blue, apricot, and you can also have a matching lace shirt if you want to sport a full-on lace ensemble.
And where would you wear that?
Wherever you want. This is called LA-based brand Hologram City.
Oh, never mind.
So, we have that. And then, next story, moving along. This happened again right here in Michigan. That there was a mother who has a 12, her daughter's 13. Apparently she went on a chat room, and in this chat room, remember I told you about the blue whale game? Were you here when I was talking about that?
I don't.
The whales beach themselves, and so they do 30 days, and the people are kind of get a handler, and they're told what to do, and the end is that they kill themselves. And a lot of kids have actually killed themselves. Well, this one reminded me of that, because what happens is her daughter was in a chat room. There was a cutter who sent the teen a picture of his scarred arms and wrote, "Most are on my chest, throat, and other arm." So in order to get her to understand what they were going through, they actually had her remove the blade out of a pencil sharpener and told her how to cut herself with the blade from a pencil sharpener. And the girl did it. And then she was upset because her friends online were going to kill themselves, harm themselves, so she stopped eating. Went to her room, blah, 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 and the mother realized something was wrong and through investigation found out what was happening. But the point was that this is what's happening online, so you have to have relationships with your children, you have to understand the peer influence, and then the mother said that when she tried to make contact with these message senders and they didn't come back, she said that she was convinced that the information sent was not legitimate, that it was meant to harm, and that therefore, of course, she reported it all to police. But this is right here in Michigan.
Did they find out who did it?
And the article doesn't say, but the point being is still, they called it emotional hijacking. And I think you have to be very careful with yourself and with your children.
Well, they just convicted that girl for texting her boyfriend encouraging him to kill himself, which he did, and now she's convicted of assisting in his murder.
I think that's absolutely legitimate. We should not be encouraging people to kill themselves. But again, I think this is setting up precedences for ritual and other things with children, you know, with less fortunate, you know, being okay with people harming themselves. Remember, I did the one of the girl who hung herself, and the supposed friend bought her the rope and then filmed her doing it and then checked to make sure she was dead. All kinds of...
These are very sick people.
Yes, this is a sick society right now, but I think society's always been sick. That's my feeling. And then my last story, which is a little bit different, but in my opinion could be construed as controversial, and that is that coconut oil has now been deemed unhealthy by the American Heart Association.
How could that be?
They claim that it's bad fat and that it's as bad for you as animal fat and butter. Now,
butter is good for you, and so is animal fat.
Well, that's why I said we're not nutritionists, so you cannot listen to us in that capacity.
Yes, you can, because now I am a doctor of alternative healing techniques by the Pan American School of Alternative Medicine. So yes, you can listen to me.
All right. Not to me, though, because I'm not. Anyway, it says here that coconut fat basically is bad for you. So no, you're not supposed to have any fat, because what happens with fat? Fat builds your brain. It maintains cellular integrity. You know, fat is good for you. But anyway.
So basically, they want people to remove from their diet anything that'll make them intelligent and healthy.
Yes, and happy.
Right.
So anyway, those are my stories.
Very
but I think
sad.
there's a lot of things going on out there that you must be connected to your source. Because when you're connected to your source, you're not going to listen to this crap. And you know what? You don't feed it, it goes away. Do what you need to do for yourself. Okay?
So we have this thing.
Okay, so as you know, I just got back from my trip to Italy, which was absolutely amazing. And most likely, I will repeat this trip next June.
What I found interesting, the picture you sent, and was from June, you walking in snow in Italy.
Yeah,
That's global warming.
Yeah. Well, anyway. So it was very interesting, but it was a fabulous trip. Everybody who went had amazing revelations, which of course I'm not privy to tell you because it's very personal. But it is an astounding trip, so if you're interested for next June 2018, put that on your calendar.
June 1. It starts June 1.
Well, we'll meet in Milan June 1. Right now that's our plan, and so we just have to get everything on the website. But that's coming up, so put that on your list. But before then, we have our next thing, was about 2.5 weeks?
About 18 days, I think.
Okay, we have our July class on Long Island.
It's July 8th.
Yep, one day, 9 to 5, I believe. Is that
I think so.
Correct? And it will be the both of us. It is limited seating. I think we have 2 or 3 seats left is all. I know.
Yeah, it's pretty...
I saw 2 more come through this morning.
You did? Oh,
I did.
Okay.
So I think there were down to about 2 or 3 spaces. I have to check for sure.
Yeah.
And then
And actually, one of my sons who lives on Long Island will actually be speaking as well.
All right.
First time.
All right. So I wonder what that's going to be about.
I know.
And then a September week-long class here in Michigan. Again, this happens once a year. And we have people already making payment plans.
I'll tell you what, this is I'm not even just trying to boost it, but amazing stuff we have to talk about.
Everything we
Like
have to tell you
really-
is always amazing.
But this is like so deep, it's incredible even for me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, well, you've got to be there because...
And you can be wearing your man bathing suit.
Yeah, and you're going to be wearing your
My
one-piece...
lace outfit.
Yeah, your lace outfit.
With my butt plug.
That is a bad visual.
And my night robes. Hello.
Your night robes? Is that like your moon robes?
I am a knight. K-N-I-G-H-T.
Oh, I thought you meant like N-I-G-H-T.
Like kiss my ring?
No,
You
I
kiss
do.
my ring?
I absolutely do not. That's disgusting.
Everybody else kiss my ring.
Well, that's disgusting.
They also kiss other parts, but we don't go there.
That's disgusting.
Thank you.
October, what happens?
This is the part I like the best because it's the October bus trip. And please remember, people, and I have to keep saying this when you call to reserve your spot, you must mention us so that you get your discount.
Yep.
And if you don't do it the first time, they're not going to do it the next time you're out.
Right.
So you must do it the first time.
That starts in El Paso, ends in El Paso.
Right. And as I say, when people ask me about things, I'm like, as they say in Texas, El Paso.
Is that funny?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think it's funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Big Bend National Park, we're going to go into the inner earth and we're going to discuss it. We're going to have amazing discussions.
Are we going to come out of the inner earth? That's the question.
Well, don't scare them.
That's the question. It's huge.
Are you trying to trigger people?
Maybe, I don't know.
Don't do that.
I can't because I'm ordained, you know. I cannot do that to anybody.
Excuse me.
And then, January. Week-long class in January.
Yeah.
You know the dates of that one.
I do, but I didn't bring them here to the...
All right, but it's also going to be quite amazing.
That's on the website.
Many, many interesting events coming up for 2018, which we're already planning.
Yeah, so if you need payment plans, now's the time to start them. So when you come to September, your fare is paid. And you come to January, you're done, and it's paid. The bus trip, I think they won't...
Really want you to come on this.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a lot of fun. 9 days, 15 meals, okay? And then remember, in one envelope, if you want to order and get a head start on things, 13 Cube.
And by the way, in Nevis, this book sold out completely.
Yeah, how about this one? The True Reality of Sexuality.
Gone.
Blue Blood, True Blood.
That was also that one left.
Okay. And then we have this next set, which I can fit in one envelope, Decoding Your Life, Universal Law.
Everybody loved this one.
Yeah, this one is basic foundational information. I wrote this, believe it or not, about 40 years ago.
No.
Yes. 40 years ago.
On a typewriter
decades.
that you had to press all the buttons yourself.
I think it was on one of the very first computers, but I started writing it actually by hand. So this one's been out there a long time. This isn't changed. It's not going to change. It's universal law. So a lot of people think they know universal law, and trust me, if you haven't read this book, you do not know universal law.
You don't.
You don't.
I don't even know.
No, I'm still teaching Stewart. He's a very hard case.
Brutal.
Yes, I am.
Brutal.
And this is, of course, the affirmations book, which I told you about last week. This has all kinds of information: power source, needs, loneliness, interference, graduation classes, filters, expansion, DNA activation, compassion. So you got an issue.
It's all about my life.
Yeah, you get this book, you open it up, you've got affirmations, and you've got some things that you can do to help yourself, because only you can heal yourself. And that's what we teach you in all of our classes: how to teach yourself, how to heal yourself, how to communicate with your own source. Nobody else can do it for you. Might be fun to go hear, you know, channelers and this person and that person, but trust me, that's fake satellite programming crap. So you want the good stuff? Expansions.com.
That's it.
Okay.
What she said.
Anything else?
No, not for this week, but maybe next week.
All right, talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.